What's going on, guys? I'm Journey. I'm here with a thoughts video, this time on Final Fantasy 16. I like the game a lot, but mainly when I played the demo, it got me kind of hooked. The storyline was pretty dope. You are Clive, and you got rejected by the Phoenix, but your younger brother got accepted, which makes him next in the line for the throne. But what you ended up doing, Clive, you become a shield so you can protect your brother. Now, he's out there trying to earn his respect from his mother. His father adores him. His mother doesn't, though. She's kind of like the epitome of what you would expect a modern American woman that is kind of, for the most part, that is kind of like a perfect description. Um, and she's all about money, fame, status, right? Power. That's what she is ultimately. And she rejected freaking her own son. This was a showcase out straight out through the demo. And that just got me hooked to go ahead and like play the game. Because you if you ever going to catch like a story where this kind of seems like abuse or like a disdain from, let's say, a parent towards a child in particular, it's always the father. It's always the father. So this is like the one thing I've ever seen that had it the other way. And I'm like, what? And the dude, like the father, he's the loving guy. Like, okay, I'm all hooked. And at the end of the demo, I was like, all right, yeah, I'm picking up. I picked it up and got into playing. The combat system's okay. Yes, it is true. This game is most definitely Devil May Cry meets Final Fantasy. So you could say FF May Cry. You could say Cry May FF. I have no idea. It's just however you want to look at it, but it's most definitely all action oriented. Mind you, the developers done said it already now. They done said it, and I understand it. But compared to, let's say, other Final Fantasies, if you would, it just all depends. If you're a more traditional person, you hate the action-oriented approach that they've been working on forever, bringing that Kingdom Hearts lifestyle up into the FF world, or even if you hate something, let's say the stagger meter, which comes back again. Remember they started that with FF13? So there's just a lot of elements here. But real quick story. So because I'm all over the place. I'm trying to get back to reality a little bit. So Joshua's a good dude. He's a good dude, right? Clive is a good dude. I also feel like Clive with his character, sometimes I kind of feel like when companies do make a character in specific, I wonder if they're being adherent to like modern norms in a little bit. A lot of guys to be a little bit more feminine or at least a little bit more emotional. Some people don't understand, the difference, but just perception of what a man defines as it and let's say a woman defines it are two completely different things for the most part. But let's just look at it from this perspective. If you look at other characters from the FF world, they're not really truly all that, let's say, emotionally expressive. They don't really spend the time crying or just talking openly about their deficiencies. Some of them are a little bit closed off, more so the Clouds and the Squalls of the worlds, right? Some are a little bit more joyful, Bart's and Zidane. And others seems to be like probably right there, even keel, maybe like a Cecile of sorts, or even a Furion, right? Others are more like the justice-oriented kind of approaches, which would be the warrior, like the original. You know what I'm saying? And then others are just kind of like their pieces. They're pieces to a collective, which is think of it like FF3, right? Where you had Itness, you had Raphilia, you had Lyneth, right? You had Ark, right? Different characters, but for the most part, they all kind of blended and complemented each other. And then you had some people that people felt was a pretty little bit annoying, like Tidus. I don't know why they say Tidus. I still say Titus, but I can't get with Tidus. Either way, so Clive is much more mature, emotionally in tune with his own self and his character. And his companions, like for instance Jill, she's amazing. I actually like her character. I like her development. It don't feel like with her that she adheres to anything. She feels like a more traditional kind of lady. She can still represent and handle her own, but she has a nice style and class and grace about her. That's why I like her a lot. You have other characters in there that kind of fulfill their roles to a specific kind of like some of the villains of sorts. Oh, but I'm not gonna lie. If there was ever a moment that I was thinking to myself, there was a character that is like Sephiroth level to where I can appreciate, maybe not as cool, maybe it's not as profound to the story, but I can appreciate. This one has it. They have a really bad ass main villain in this game. You need to play it. I'm not gonna front. I love the design. I love the voice acting with it. The voice acting is good throughout the whole story. The music is amazing. The combat music is great. Especially when you get into your boss battles, that's great too. The side missions is where I can knock it. I'm not gonna front. The side missions were a little bit, they okay. Some of them will help you identify a little bit more with characters and try to understand them a bit. Others felt like more miscellaneous stuff, where you will go from, let's say you start at point A, you go to point B, then you're back to point A again. Okay, it's over. And there's a little bit small stories in between from there. But it doesn't necessarily, sometimes, I'm not going to front, it could get really boring. It could get really boring. But for the most part, they do have a well assortment of complemented class towards Clive and Jill. Toggle is one of my, I'm not an animal lover, but that pooch is my pooch. That's my pooch. I'm not gonna front. That pooch alone, that's my guy. That's my, I'm a rep for that one. I want to keep it real. And the best way I can describe the game is, it still once again depends on where you sit at in the Final Fantasy scope. I'm more of a traditional guy, but I can appreciate this. It does have its shortcomings. Storytelling is one of them, side missions included. The storytelling starts off really strong. You can tell from the demo. But the thing I was really looking for that hooked me into buying it, translation, the relationship between Clive and his mother, she literally like disappears throughout a strong amount of portion throughout the campaign. And for a woman to do what she done did, I'm telling you, if you are a dude out there and you a good kind of a brother, and then you out there and you trying to hustle, you trying to grind it, checking this character out is like your worst fears come to fruition. I'm going to be real with you. After seeing that, and then that is that close, it's like, how in the world does X, Y, and Z equals A, B, and C? It don't make no sense. And that's exactly the way how she is. And some of the stuff that kind of comes up and that you're expecting to happen does not happen. And some relationships, some closure to some stories just kind of leave off on a whimper, if you understand what I'm saying. But when the moments come, they come, and they come grand. There are some things, like for instance, for the combat, you do have a place you could go to practice some of your attacks. Throughout the story, you'll acquire more Echion abilities. So there's various assortment of them. I want to at least make sure that I do not spoil it for everybody. For instance, you start off with Ifrit, and then you eventually find your way to even more, and yeah, you could control Bahamut. There's a lot of various other different things in the game, but one of the things I do love about the combat system is that you can respec your points. If you don't understand what I mean by respec your points, it's essentially starting over from scratch. With what I love, no penalty whatsoever. Some games like to charge you amount like money or maybe an item or so to be able to respect points. This game charges you absolutely nothing. So that way, that leaves for free experimentation. You could go and have all the fun that you want and pick to whatever you desire to see what fits a playstyle that you might be going for. Mine's, I did like Titan. That's kind of my thing. I do like the parrying, the way how they have it in there. And then there's others in there as well too. So just not to try to spoil too much, but I do want to simply say that the game is beautiful. It's gorgeous. I love its textures. I love the lighting. I love the world itself and how they build the character models. Everything looks so realistic, fine-tuned, and their textures don't look like it came off of some Disney Frozen. It feels like real authentic, almost like you can reach out and touch, especially the world, the terrain. Everything that is there, the water effects, just everything just looks pristine in such a way that I really do hope a lot of games can get there. Final Fantasy does a really good job with its particles and just all the effects and everything else that comes across with it. It's like there's nothing else like it, and this is a continuation of that. It's not excessive. It feels like it's just right. But I do feel like some instances there is, with some storylines and some aspects about it, there is sometimes where I feel like kind of pandering just to include stuff that's just included that doesn't necessarily offer it really truly anything towards the story. And it's like, oh, okay. But yeah, you have to go and see those things out for yourself. But my 2 cents is most definitely a pickup. Buy it. The gameplay is great, depending on if you're into action. If you're not, this is not going to suit that taste for you. And I don't know what the future Final Fantasy going to look like, but if it looks like anything like this, I'm a little bit indifferent about it, because if you got that platinum kind of play style, and when you get through those boss battles, which I haven't talked too much about, you kind of notice they're always trying to up the ante, and there are eventual places where you do come up to, as a dud. And sometimes I feel like I wasn't playing Final Fantasy. I feel like I was playing an alternate version of Final Fantasy dubbed Final Fantasy Ifrit's Revenge. You know what I'm saying? That's what I felt like. And, you know, it's just, that's it. And some people can't take criticism for some fan bases. I'm not going to start calling things out. Some fan bases can't take the criticism. I'm not going to front. But there's no such product as a perfect product that exists in our culture, in society as a large period. It just does not exist. And everything is free for criticism, just as long as it's constructive. And I think, personally, in my 2 cents, people got to be able to be free to express their opinions, no matter how crazy you may think of it to be. But that's just my 2 cents. It doesn't mean the game ain't worth purchasing. It most definitely is. It's just that you got to keep yourself with an open mind and go in there and see if you like it. This will be a game I can see if it brings in a lot of new people. But unfortunately, what also happens, those new people wouldn't be receptive towards going backwards to check out what the whole product of the series is about. And unfortunately, if you're going to rock out with those new people there, then the next one is going to have to be very similar. Otherwise, they're going to clock back out again. You know, some people felt as though the old Final Fantasies was boring. So this one will be fun for them. But it's just not what Final Fantasy is. But this does have Final Fantasy elements, and I like it. I like it a lot. So if I was to give it a rating, I would probably do an 8.5 out of 10. It's good. And so I enjoy it. And there's a new game plus. I think it's the first ever of its kind. I'm not too sure, unless you think it probably like Lightning Returns or something, but I like it. I like it a lot. Go pick up Final Fantasy 16. It's one of the highlights for the year. It's a really good one. Unfortunately, I wish Square would get off their butts and, this should be available everywhere. You could probably be breaking a whole different type of records, but that's a whole different discussion for a whole different day. Until then, make sure you take care of yourselves and each other, and I hope to catch you guys on the next one. Till then, take care. I appreciate you. Like and subscribe. Later.